Hi everybody. In the previous video, I learned you how to use if statement, which depends on a condition. If statement has two types, one condition or multiple condition. If I have only one condition, this is called simple if, while if I have multiple conditions, this is called nested if. In the previous video, we used this example to know who is the passed student and who is the failed student. Only pass or fail depending on the mark, whether the mark is above or equals to 50 or otherwise. But what if I don't only need to know whether the student is passed or failed, but I also need to know the grade of the student, whether the student has a good, very good, or excellent grade. Now we have multiple conditions. And now we need to jump to another type of if, which is a nested if. The case now is, which Excel version do you have? Because we have two ways to use nested if. Starting from Office 365 and after, Microsoft provided a simpler way to apply multiple conditions in if in a function called ifs. IFS, while all version of Excel has if statement in a nested format. In this video, I will learn you both. So if you have any version of Excel, whether before 365 or 365 and after, you can use the nested if, while if you have a recent version like 365 and after versions, you can use the ifs statement. Today, we will learn how to use both, and you can choose whatever you feel more comfortable with. Nested if uses many conditions, and it is a little bit tricky. You need to brain set the logic of the conditions before you start typing the if statement, especially if you are a beginner. And in this video, I will learn you the simplest way to do that. For example, I have here many conditions. If the student mark is more than or equals to 85, need the grade to be excellent. If the student has greater than or equals to 75, very good, and all of these options. The first thing, just to write every condition like this. I wrote every condition and the answer for every condition, or the true value for every condition. Now I have all the conditions. After that, you will need to write the if statement, moving over condition by condition. Now here I will start typing equals if. And then I will open a parentheses. I will go to the first condition. The mark is greater than or equals to 85. What is the mark? This is the mark. Greater than or equal to 85. Then the answer is, if this condition is true, value if true, write excellent. So if this condition is true, the answer is excellent. What if this condition is false? Now, if this condition is false, I have another condition. I have to go back to my list of conditions and see. Do I have another condition? Yes. What is the condition? This condition, if the mark is more than or equals to 75. If you have another condition, you will write another if. I didn't close the parentheses here because I'm still into the false phrase or the false version, but here the false is another condition. If I have another condition, I will write another if. And the other if will also have a logical test, true value and the false value. The other condition is the mark is greater than or equals to 75. If this second condition is true, then write very good. If this condition is false, do I have another condition? Let's look at the list. Yes, I have another condition. So I will need another if. And this if will be the value if false for second condition. If, then open a parenthesis, if this condition, the condition is the mark, is greater than or equals to 65, then value if true. If this true, write good. If this condition is false, do I have another condition? Let's go to the list. Yes, I have this condition. So as I have another condition, I should have another if statement. And as I have another if statement, I need to open the parentheses and start writing the parameters of this new if. The first parameter is the logical test. The mark is greater than or equals to 50. This is the condition. If this specific condition is true, then write pass. And if false, do I have another condition? Yes, I have another condition. If this condition is the last condition, yes, this condition is the last condition. So I don't need to write it. I just need to write what if this condition happened, which is if all of the above is false, write fail. So you don't need to write the last condition because this is the false of all of the above. I will write only the answer of this condition, which is fail. And that's why it's called nested if, because it's first level if, second level if, and so on. So now I have finished everything. I need to close the parentheses. And this is a common mistake that users do if they are beginners, is that they don't adjust the parentheses, the closing parentheses. When you finish, you need to close all the parentheses that were opened. Every if you use has an open parenthesis, should have a closing parenthesis at the end. So how many ifs that I wrote? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I should close 4 parentheses here. And you can see when you close the parentheses, it takes the color of its opened parentheses. So this one is for this. The second one is for this if. And until I get the first color. They are 4. And now I closed 4 parentheses. What are the common mistakes? The common mistakes here in this nested if that I saw many students do at the beginning is, as I mentioned, the number of closing parentheses don't match the number of opened parentheses. They should match. The second common mistake is to close the parentheses after every if. This is not correct. We close the parentheses at the end of the whole statement. The third common mistake that sometimes students forget to write one if of them. They may start to write only the condition. They get confused and write the condition without an if. So it will retrieve an error. And to avoid that, you should write the statement, you should write the conditions in a list and move over condition by condition. And as you see every condition, you will need to write if. Another mistake is forgetting to add separators. You should have a separator between the condition and value if true and value if false. Between every condition and value if true and value if false. Another mistake is not writing the text between quotation. It is very important to write text between quotation. Sometimes students make another mistake, which is they forget to add a parenthesis after one of the ifs. And this also will retrieve an error. If you set your list of conditions, you will not make mistakes like this. Now I have finished everything. and then I will press enter and paste the function. Every student that above or equals to 85 will have excellent, and all the other conditions will be applied as you can see. If the mark is changed, like here, if I give this student 75, the student will be very good and not excellent because the function is dynamic. This is by using nested if. How to use ifs? This only if you have Excel 365 or later versions. If simpler than the nested if, I should have list of conditions as well to simplify the process for myself. Then equals, I would write ifs, and between parentheses, every condition and every value if true, without the need of writing many ifs. These ifs replaced the many ifs that I used in the same statement. You simply need to write the logical test, the first logical test that I have, the mark greater than or equals to 85, then write excellent, comma. If you have another test, this is the first condition. I have another condition, yes. So I will write only the second condition. As you can see, logical test 1, value if true. Then logical test 2, value if true, and so on. My logical test 2 is the mark is greater than or equals to 75. What if this happened? Write very good. Then comma, the third condition. I have to move over the list to see if I have a third condition. Yes, I have. The third condition, which is the mark, is greater than or equals to 65. Then the answer will be good. The fourth condition, I still have a fourth condition, which is the mark greater than or equals to 50. Then the value if true, which is right pass. The last condition, which is the mark is less than 50, then write fail. And because you open only one parenthesis, you need only to close only one parenthesis. And I made a mistake, which is I forgot to close the quotation. This is very important. A mistake that students do, they forget to write the cell, to refer to the cell reference. And that's all. If you use if a statement, take care of the parentheses, the open parentheses, and the closing parentheses, the reference that you compare with, the cell reference, the number of conditions, and the number of value if true or value if false, which if statement you are using ifs or nested if. This is very important to take care of. The order of the conditions is crucial. Let me explain to you how Excel will behave towards nested if. Either this or this. Excel will go to the first condition. Let's go here, for example. The first condition is the mark is above or equals to 85. So it will go to the next cell. If this mark is greater than or equal to 85, no, then Excel will move to the second condition. If yes, Excel will stop here and won't look at the other conditions, which means if I reversed the order of the conditions, for example, I started with greater than or equal to than 50, then greater than or equals to 65. If I arranged the condition in reverse order, what will happen? Then the first condition will be more than or equals to 50. Excel will check the first mark, 70. Is it greater than or equal to 50? Yes. So it will write pass and won't look at the other conditions. That means Excel won't recognize that I need to add grades depending on the condition. Let's apply this. Equals, you can, I will use if or ifs. If this cell more than or equals to 50, then write pass, the second condition. Now I wrote the same conditions but in reversed order. I start with the lowest mark while I'm using greater than or equals to, and I added all the conditions, the good, very good, and the excellent condition, and even the fail condition, and I will press enter. The result is totally different and is not correct. Why this happened? Because Excel will go to the mark, the test, the condition, which is V3. Is it more than or equals to 50? Yes, so add pass. And want to look at the other conditions. Fail, because fail is greater than or equals to 50, Excel moves on the other condition until it finds the conditions that match and write fail. And that's why ordering the conditions is very, very important. How we order the condition? If you use greater than or equals to, if you use the greater than in general, whether greater than alone or equals or greater than equals to, you should order the condition starting from the highest value and then go to the next lower value and so on until at the end you write the lowest value. If your condition, if you have multiple conditions and the comparison or the operator is greater than, for all conditions, you should start with the highest value, then the lower and the lower and zero until you get the lowest value at the last condition. If your operator or the comparison of the condition is less than, start with the smallest value. So you have to start the first condition with the smallest value, then the higher, and the highest value at the end. Not only writing a true statement, but also writing the correct order of the conditions. That's all for today. Thank you guys. See you next video. Bye.